Immediate and complete reports of local blood and guts.
What happened was true. The most bizarre and brutal series of crimes
We move now to a vicious, deadly attack on 2 young women who were on a camping trip in the mountains of Morocco.
Investigators released photos of 3 of them. Moroccan prosecutors said the men pledged allegiance to ISIS in a video that was made before the killings. There are reports that the women had stab wounds to their necks. Officials say police have video surveillance of 3 people pitching a tent near where the victims were staying.
In December of 2018, a video would begin to circulate on social media that would shake Norway and many of its surrounding countries in Scandinavia to their core, in solidarity for the murder of 2 young women, 28-year-old Mary Ueland from Norway and 24-year-old Luisa Jespersen from Denmark. A crude and chaotic video depicting the beheading of Luisa and a terrified Marie was uploaded by what would be aspiring members of ISIS around December 17th of 2018. The video itself is extremely notable from its time for gore hounds and was especially shocking for those curious enough to see it. While it was loud and full of commotion, the video was impressively clear in terms of video quality, even highlighting the shine of the murder weapons and the massive amount of blood. The women were students at the University of Southeastern Norway, where they studied outdoor recreation and nature guidance to become tour guides. Luisa had posted on her Facebook about her upcoming trip before leaving, saying, "Dear friends, I'm going to Morocco in December. Any of you guys who's around by then, or any mountain friends who know something about Mount Tobkal?" The duo had arrived in Morocco on December 9th as tourists, with the intentions of hiking and taking in all of Morocco's beauty. The 2 women first arrived in Marrakesh before traveling to Imlil in the Atlas Mountains. The village of Imlil is popular with travelers as the main base for summiting Mount Tobkal, which is the highest peak in North Africa. The women had stayed in a hostel where they encountered a local mountain guide, Rashid Imrahad, who said he had cautioned them about camping alone in their planned descent of Mount Tobkal. And while Morocco is generally considered safe to travel, it is no stranger to dangerous happenings, including concerning criminal activity and active ISIS members coming in and out around this time during their travels. And speaking of which, around the day of the ladies arriving in Morocco, another video was posted to social media. This video depicting 4 men and an ISIS flag behind them. The men pledged their allegiance to the terrorist cell and vowed to carry out a terrorist act on either security services or foreign tourists, before deciding to travel to the Imlil region to look for foreigners. While there isn't direct evidence to support that the men stalked the 2 women, witnesses say a group of men who appeared dirty and homeless pitched their tent neighboring of the women along the path near the mountain start, just before their decapitated bodies would be found. It would later be revealed by surveillance video that these men were indeed the murderers, and could be seen leaving the scene shortly after the attack. On the night of December 16th, 2018, the women were ambushed in their tent and drug out and attacked in a chaotic video that was publicized shortly afterwards. In the video, Luisa can be seen having her neck and then throat slashed at with a machete until she's eventually decapitated. The assailants scream, "Enemies of Allah," and revenge for our brothers in Hajin. Hajin being a reference to an urban stronghold that at the time was controlled by ISIS and attacked. The video is shaky but surprisingly high quality. The shining blade of the machetes can be seen as the horror unfolds. A massive amount of blood pools as Luisa Jespersen is beheaded. And if you pay close enough attention, you can actually catch a frame of Marie Ueland's face of terror as she was made to witness this. Luisa was in agony the entire time, Unlike many beheadings you may have already witnessed from ISIS and even the cartels, these women were not drugged, and there was a struggle. Luisa initially was slammed to the ground and they began to saw at the back of her neck, cutting deep into her, before she rolled around in the struggle and her throat was slashed at. During the ordeal, she screamed wildly the entire time, as blood spurts and pools below. She was also stripped of her bottoms down to her underwear. Authorities said the women were not sexually assaulted. However, due to this, they initially thought it was to be the motive. Regardless, these women were stripped of their dignity and viciously murdered by brainwashed cowards who would attack women in their sleep. And the particularly gruesome video would gain attention in news outlets globally at the time. Nowadays, it's referenced due to its sheer brutality and visceral visual impact. It has even been featured in some of the most brutal and even a few illegal mixtapes, like Scream Bitch. Shortly after the bodies were discovered, Abdirahim Kalali was quickly apprehended following the incident, after police found his ID in the women's tent, with 3 other suspects being arrested on a bus in nearby Marrakesh during heavy traffic. Police found various machetes, knives, and tape on the men, which were later connected to the murder. Then, of course, their ISIS pledge they posted to social media. As of 2024, the suspects are still awaiting execution, with the exception of Abdirahim Kalali, who on February 28th of 2023 took his own life by hanging himself with a piece of cloth taken from his clothes, anchored to a window. He was awaiting execution at the local prison. The death penalty is still in effect in Morocco. However, no executions have taken place since 1993. Thank you so much for watching. You may have noticed that this was kind of a repost, sort of. I had to remake this video as this was one of the ones that was taken down in the mass harassment campaign that inevitably saw my videos getting mass reported by a group of not-so-great people, to keep it short. If you'd like to see all my deleted videos, including the ones that are not allowed on YouTube, exclusive content that will never be posted here anyway, talk to me daily in Discord, get merch discounts, and so much more, head on to my link tree in the description and check out my premium pages like Buy Me a Coffee and Subscribestar. There you'll be supporting me directly and getting all the benefits I mentioned before, and so much more. The preview at the end of this video is actually exclusive to those pages, and I'd like it if you check it out, if you have the time. A 16-part docu-series with the first entry being about 2 hours long, it's sure not to disappoint. Again, thank you so much for watching. I love you all dearly, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And remember, if it bleeds, it leads.
In the beginning, we explored macabre and what we thought was the most shocking in our world.
Skies are gray, when 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 skies are gray.
A stark public warning in British Columbia tonight over a notorious pedophile
on the shooting attacks on 2 mosques in the New Zealand city of Christchurch.
Terrible to describe. Now walk me through that. What was going on in your mind?
Peter Scully was on the run for 4 years, considered Australia's most evil predator.
Well, as you can see, the parts of the building have collapsed. The fire has indeed engulfed the vast majority of this compound.
Christopher Neal made international headlines a decade ago after police in Europe used software to unswirl this image and hundreds more of a man engaged in sex acts with young boys in Asia.
to talk to you except for you.
Do you feel blame? Are you mad? Do you feel like wolves kebab friends? Get friends,